Hello, 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 and welcome back to Crush Cravings Before Diabetes Crushes You. My name is Karen Sammer. I am a board certified health and wellness coach, and I am here to talk to you today about what is it costing you to stay stuck in where you are. So the people that I help are people that are overweight and pre-diabetic, but are so overcome by cravings that they can't stop eating the foods that are causing them to eventually become diabetic. So what I do is I help them to crush those cravings, lose the weight they need to lose, and they can avoid a lifetime of diabetes medication. And so that is what this is about today. What is it costing you to stay where you are physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, all of those things? And so we're going to dig into that a little bit today. I just want to let you know that in our population, close to 50% of adults in the US or adults who live in the Western Hemisphere are either pre-diabetic or diabetic or on their way there. So 50%, that's amazing. And they cost the financial hit to the medical system, to your business, your family life, your productivity at work. All of these things, they're all impacted by the state of your health. So just knowing that you could possibly be in that 50%, and most people don't even know it. They don't even know that they're pre-diabetic. And some don't even know that they're diabetic. It doesn't always have symptoms, or it doesn't have symptoms that you recognize as being something that you need to worry about. So we're going to talk about the cost of neglecting your health, especially around the progression of the potential for diabetes. Now, having done this myself, I 15 years ago was diagnosed with breast cancer, but prior to that, I knew that my health wasn't good. It wasn't, I was overweight, very overweight. My numbers were all creeping up. My sugar was out of balance, and so I was on the verge of all of these things: the high cholesterol, the high blood pressure, the blood sugar going into prediabetes. In fact, I was pre-diabetic, but it wasn't until I got the diagnosis of breast cancer that I finally paid attention. Sometimes you get those little nudges, those little tweaks, and if you don't pay attention, then you get the big brick to the side of your head, and that was my brick. So I decided to take my health into my own hands after I had conventional treatment, and I ended up losing 135 pounds and reversing the prediabetes, mitigating my risk of recurrence for breast cancer, and just generally making my health a whole lot better. But it was really scary to undertake that. But so was cancer. So my recommendation is that you do not wait until you get a life-challenging, a life-threatening diagnosis before you do something to change the trajectory of your health. So, it's really easy to sit on the couch and say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. But every day that you don't do something is a day farther away from you being well. So, these things don't happen overnight. It's the daily habits of eating the standard Western diet, of not exercising, of sitting in front of the computer, the TV, whatever it is, just being inactive, being under unrelenting stress, not getting enough sleep, just having a daily grind that you go through, just kind of go through the motions every day. And every day that you don't do something to change that is a day farther away from being healthy. So what does that cost you financially? Well, financially, you're going to be paying for extra doctor bills, extra medications, buying bigger clothes. You're probably spending a lot of money on foods that you probably shouldn't be eating. And the productivity in your job, so maybe your job isn't done to the level that you could normally do it. Or if you're in your own business, the productivity in your business would be failing or flailing. And so the financial aspect of not being your best self is pretty significant. It impacts the quality of your life. So if you have a family and you're not able to participate in family events because you're not feeling well or you're just not physically up to it, that really does take its toll on the relationships in your life. So really understanding that being in your best health is not only good for you, but it's good for everybody around you. And you can participate more fully in life. I found myself wanting to do more things because I was much more energetic. I was able to move around better in the world, and it was really a lot easier for me to be social or to be more participatory in my life or in my family's life. When you are, when you are kind of wallowing in your unwellness, if you will, what is that costing you? What is that? What is that? What toll is that taking on you, on your family life, on your physical health, on your self-esteem, on your ability to get things done, just in your life, just the day-to-day work in your life? What is that? What is the toll that it's taking on you? And then mentally, what is it doing? If you know that you have to do something, or you know that something has to happen and you're not doing it, then the stress that causes is pretty significant. So if you are a procrastinator, and I'm a master procrastinator actually, but if you are a procrastinator, and especially around your health, the I'll do it tomorrow syndrome, or I'll start Monday, or I'll start whatever, fill in the blank. If you are doing that day after day, Monday never comes, or Monday comes and something happens and you can't do it, so I'll start next Monday instead of starting Monday afternoon or Tuesday, for instance. But it's the constant pressure, the mental pressure, the emotional pressure of knowing that this should be done and you're not doing it. It just doesn't go away. And so when you do the thing, while it may be hard, eventually it's not as hard as not doing it and knowing that you should. So there's a meme that goes around social media that says, it's hard to be overweight, and it's also hard to get fit. Choose your hard. Life can be hard. Life deals us hard things. But identifying the hard things that are going to benefit you and doing those hard things that are going to benefit you is far superior to wallowing in your victimhood or your poor health and not doing anything about it, because it's a lot easier to sit on the couch than it is to go out for a walk sometimes. But once you get up and go out for the walk, you come back and you feel so much better, and the energy level goes up, and your clarity of thought returns, and you just feel more alive and more in touch with your life. So it's really it's choose your hard, choose the effort or the difficulty that is going to give you the benefit. And so when you are in that kind of I'll just sit here and do nothing mode, knowing that something has to be done, you're in that loop of, should I do it? Should I do this, or should I do that? When it becomes a habit that the first thing you do is you get up and you move. You get up in the morning and you stretch. You get up in the morning and maybe you go to the gym, or maybe you take a walk, or maybe you just do some exercises at home. But if you do that, if you do that over and over again, and that becomes your habit, then the fallback is not, I'll sit on the couch and eat potato chips. The fallback is, I will get up and take a walk, and maybe after that I'll sit and watch TV for a little bit. But the exercise or the movement or whatever positive choice that you've made should not be a punishment. Should not be perceived as a punishment. It is a reward. It is actually it's a reward for taking it for making the good decision. So when you're deciding what to eat, for instance, and you decide, should I eat something quick? Should I go through the drive-through, or should I prepare something for myself that is healthy and wholesome and made from whole foods? And it doesn't have to be fancy. It just can be something very simple. But the benefit to your body is far superior to the detriment that you're going to get from eating from the drive-through. And it is, but again, it should not be perceived as a punishment or as a drudgery. It should be perceived as self-love. It's something that you're doing for yourself and others. You're doing it not only for yourself, but the people around you who are affected by your life. And it should be perceived as something that you're doing for yourself, that you're not subjecting yourself to, if that makes sense. So, the more you ignore the good things that you should be doing for yourself, or the positive things that you should be doing for yourself, the more of a toll that takes on you emotionally and mentally, and it causes a lot of unnecessary stress. So making these decisions, and just make them. There's Mel Robbins has this theory that She calls it the 5-second rule. And I think I've talked about this before because I love this. If you just count down from 5 to 0, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then the minute you say 0, you get up and you do the thing rather than think about it. What it does is it kind of switches your brain around so that you don't have a chance to think about it or talk yourself out of whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing or that you want to do to benefit yourself. You just get up and do it. So in the morning, when the alarm goes off, you just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch yourself out of bed. Okay, you don't hit the snooze button because when you do that, then you mess up your whole circadian rhythm because you go back to sleep for a little bit, but that little bit just puts you into enough of a sleep that when you wake up, you're in a kind of a fog. So don't hit the snooze button. But I'm saying that, that I'm going off on a tangent there, but just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 your way into the next thing without thinking about it. Just launch into whatever it is that's going to benefit you instead of giving yourself a reason to talk yourself out of it. And then the I'll start Monday theory. I mean, I can tell you I've been very guilty of that, and I still am from time to time. I'll start this tomorrow. I'll start this another time. I'm not going to start it now is what I'm telling myself. But later doesn't come. There's always some reason why you don't do it later. When you say I'll start Monday, and then you eat everything in the kitchen and from now until Monday, and then so now you're starting from farther behind on Monday if you even do it, and then you'll come up with the reason on Monday that you don't do it. I mean, how many Mondays have gone by that you haven't done whatever it is that you've done, that you've promised yourself you're going to do? And procrastination, the more you procrastinate on your health, the worse your health can become. Because every day you're not doing something in a positive direction for your health, you're automatically going in a negative direction. So there's never, ever a perfect time. Starting now is the perfect time. That is the perfect time to start, right now. Because something's going to happen tomorrow that's going to give you a reason not to do it. Something's going to happen on Monday. Something's going to happen at 4 o'clock. Just do it. Just start something. Do something now. Because waiting for the perfect situation to occur is never going to happen. So there's never going to be, the stars are never going to completely align for you to be able to say, okay, this is the perfect time for me to start eating properly and to exercise, get enough sleep, minimize my stress, drink enough water. That is never going to happen. So the perfect time is now. And when you start doing these things, it is going to push you out of your comfort zone.
Let's go back, let's go way on, way back when. I didn't even know you couldn't have been too much more than 10. Just now. I ain't no psychiatrist, I ain't no doctor with degrees, but it don't take too much time to see what you're doing to me. You better think about what you're trying to do to me, yeah. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Oh, freedom, freedom, freedom.
And that is uncomfortable and sometimes painful. So not allowing yourself to do the thing because you're afraid of, I have to give this food up, or now I'm going to have sore muscles, or fill in the blank. I might feel hungry. God forbid we feel a little bit hungry, right? But being afraid of the change or being afraid of the discomfort that's in your future for doing these things, first of all, that discomfort is probably temporary, unless you do some injury to yourself. But the discomfort is temporary. On the other side of that discomfort is a feeling of well-being that is indescribable. When you stack these habits together and you start really living the lifestyle and you continually do the things that are going to benefit you rather than do the things that are going to be a detriment to you, the feeling of wellness is just is indescribable. It really you feel so much better because you do sleep better and you have more energy, and the achiness goes away, and the hunger is not so prevalent. It's not. I mean, I teach people how to eat in ways that are not going to make them hungry. They're not going to be hungry. They're going to be satisfied, but they're going to be satisfied with the right foods. And that's the important thing, is that you're satisfying yourself nutritionally and sort of emotionally, physically, all of the things. And so it is it is scary sometimes to make the changes that you're not familiar with. It's scary to not come home and just do the routine that you're so used to. But the more you do that, the more that becomes your routine, and your comfort zone grows exponentially, actually. And so when you are allowing yourself to step out of your comfort zone, and you don't have to take a giant leap, small incremental steps are the keys to success. And before you know it, you're completely turned around from where you were before. So you think about a ship that just 1 degree off course will send it to a completely different destination. Well, same with you. 1 degree every day is going to change the trajectory of your life, and eventually you're just going to be in the opposite direction, in a good way. And it doesn't take a lot. It takes small incremental changes piled on top of each other to get the job done. So the way you could go about doing this is by identifying the change that you want to make, and identifying that change as something positive for yourself, not something that I have to do. It's something that I get to do. It's really reframing it as an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to do better for yourself. So reframing it as an opportunity rather than something that's a drudgery or that's a chore to do. You don't want that. Nobody wants to do a chore, but it's an opportunity to feel better. And so when you project it as that for yourself, if you identify it as something that is a benefit to you, as something that's going to make you feel well, it's going to make you bring you closer to your goal, then that it changes your mindset about it. So don't fear the change, embrace the change. And even if you are afraid of it, do it anyway. Don't let that fear take the power away from you. You're in charge of this. Empower yourself. I always teach my clients to empower themselves. Don't be a victim of your circumstances. Don't be a victim of anything. You may have had something happen to you, but try to reframe it. And I'm not suggesting that trauma that has happened to people is insignificant, because that is not the case. And it definitely alters your perception of yourself and all these things. But if you can find a way to make that work for you as a reason for you to take control and to be in charge of your life and to be the one who makes the decisions for you, that helps to, first of all, it helps to dissipate the hold that trauma has on you, but it gives you back your power. And you have the power. You just have to take it. You have to claim it. So making sure that you do that, making the decision that your life is your life, and you are going to make the decisions for your life that are going to be the most beneficial to you. Now, I'm not suggesting that if we're going from a completely sedentary eat from the drive-through lifestyle, that you make complete wholesale changes all at one time. That doesn't work out so well for people. It ends up being kind of counterproductive, because people get overwhelmed and they get frustrated and they just say, oh, what the heck, I'm just going to go back to the way I was. I know how to do that. So instead of doing that, what we do is we make small incremental changes. I say that all the time. Small incremental changes make a big, big difference. And so when you make these tiny changes a little bit every day, and you maintain those changes, before you know it, you have changed your entire lifestyle. But it hasn't been really painful and overwhelming. So, like, one of the things that I'll tell somebody, if they don't drink any water at all, for instance, because water is very important to you. You don't drink any water at all, well, then I suggest you start with that 8 or 16 ounces a day. Start with that, and you work your way up. Now, my goal, and I don't hit it all the time, but my goal is to drink a gallon a day. And because what you should be doing is drinking at least half your body weight in ounces of water. So I don't weigh 256 pounds, but I do try to drink a gallon of water a day. Now, normally those days I have to be home because I have to be close to the bathroom, because you drink a lot of water, you're going to be in the bathroom a lot. So, but I'm not suggesting that that's for everyone. But the goal should be to take your body weight, divide that number in half, and that's the number of ounces of water you should be drinking every day. But that you don't have to go from 0 to whatever that is, whatever that half number is. You work your way up to that. And the same with exercise. You don't go from sitting on the couch every day to running a marathon. You start out by taking a walk around the block. Depending on your level of fitness, maybe make it a mile. Around my block happens to be a mile. And so if I have a short window of opportunity and I want to take a walk, that walk is, I can get a mile in by just going around my block. So the idea of you don't have to eat the whole elephant. You can just do one small change every day and maintain that change and pile those changes on top of each other. And eventually they will all become new habits. And while they won't completely erase the old habits, the more you do them, the more they will overtake the old habits. And the goal really is to make those your default, not make the old habits your default. Because typically when we are under a lot of stress or we're feeling unsafe or things get a little bit bumpy in our lives, the human nature will send us back to our old predictable, familiar habits. And the ones that we are trying to put behind us are not the ones that we want to be our default. And so the more that we instill these new habits, the more that we practice these new habits, the more ingrained they will become. And those neural pathways will become more prominent for you. And that can eventually become your default. So you want to identify small incremental changes that you can make every day. And then you think about it, well, like what, if you don't do these things, what's going to happen? Is your health going to get any better? No, it's not. If you maintain the lifestyle that got you to where you are now, it's just going to make it worse. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And what is the cost to you for that, for doing that? What's going to happen? And well, ultimately, if you are in the case of my clients, if you are pre-diabetic, ultimately you'll become diabetic. And diabetes can lead to heart disease. It can lead to blindness. It can lead to kidney failure. It can lead to death, amputation, all sorts of things if it's unchecked and unmanaged. I've had clients whose diabetes have been unmanaged on medication until we started working together. We worked together a few months and we get things back in order for them. But it is preferable, at least in my mind, it is preferable to avoid having to take the medication in the first place, because there is no medication on the planet that doesn't have a side effect of some sort. And while you may be led to believe that some of those side effects are minor, they're still side effects. And I would say that no side effect is minor. If it does something, if it has an unintended consequence, then it's not a good thing. So my preference is to stay off of the medication, and I can help you do that. So here's what I'm going to suggest that you do. This is my call to action for you. I want you to make one small change today to your lifestyle to bring it in the positive direction. I don't care if it's take a walk down the driveway and back. I don't care if it's take your dog for a walk, turn the TV off a half an hour early and do a little stretching, go to bed at a reasonable hour so that you get a full 8 hours of sleep, drink an extra couple of glasses of water today. Whatever that small change is, make that change and stick to it. And then add on to it a little bit every day. And then make another change and stick to that. And just make these changes little by little. If you need help doing that, I offer a free consultation. And I would love to have you come on, connect with me. And we will talk about your situation. We'll talk about your goals. We'll work out some action steps to get you there. And maybe you'll want to work with me. If you do, that's great. If not, that's okay too. Either way, you're going to walk away with some action steps to get you started on your healthy path. So I am going to say goodbye. I'm Karen Sammer, Your Power, Your Health, Nutrition, and Health Coaching. If you want to sign up for that free consultation, go to my website, yourpoweryourhealth.com/book, and schedule your free consultation. Answer the questions so that it directs the conversation that we have. And I don't think it's a waste of your time. I think it's going to be well worth your time. Have a good day.